You just have to really be committed. You have to make sure that you stick with the plan, that you follow what your credit consultant is telling you. And in no time, I always tell my clients, it took you a long time to get to where you are. So it'll take a little bit. Sometimes it takes 45 days. Sometimes it takes, 4 months. But you got to start. You got to get started. And by the way, that's how I started my company because my husband had bad credit. So the fruit doesn't fall too far from the tree. The hubby was not paying his bills. Now he pays them because I pay everything. But that was a business idea that came from that particular situation. So uh, because of the credit and the financials and all of that, we became a very successful couple when it came to real estate. So, but it all started with bad credit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Just because you have bad credit, regardless whether you were irresponsible or you hit hard times, at some point losing a job. I mean, so many things happen in life. There's nothing to be ashamed of. And as Joanna said, is not as hard as people think it is. It's also not as expensive as people think it is. There are, unfortunately, a lot of companies out here who take advantage of people, which is why I have Joanna here. I would never bring someone to people who trust me that are going to take advantage of them. Are we perfect business people? No, we're absolutely not. Will we make mistakes? Of course, but we will take responsibility. We'll make sure we make it right, and we want to give you the best service that you deserve. So that's why someone like her is here, and that's why I rep her credit company, her credit repair company, because I've personally have had people that I know use it, and it's helped them in what they're trying to do. Okay, someone else just came in.
Awesome, Gladys.
Gladys, hi, welcome. We're about to get started. Thank you for being here. As I mentioned, we're not going to take a long time. I'm going to go through these slides fairly quickly, and we're going to have most of the time I want to give to you guys to ask any questions that you have. And I'll also be putting the link to the survey in here for you guys to fill out the survey. And if you want to meet with Joanna and I to go deeper into what your goals are in real estate or any credit questions after the call, there's only so much we could do on an hour and a half. We want to make sure we give you some more of our time and help however we can. Cool. So welcome to House Hacking and Credit. Again, my name is Danica Matos. This is Joanna Diaz. We are also co-authors to a book called Latinas in Real Estate Volume 1. Volume 2 is dropping next week.
25th of May. Yes.
Am I doing this right?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not doing it right. Sorry, I don't know how to do this because my sister does it for me. There we go. All right, I'll share a little bit about myself. My name is Danica. I have been in real estate for about 19, 20 years. I have a my sister's so funny. I have a real estate team called the Infamous Group. And I focus a lot with investors. Investors are my passion. I love to see people start using real estate as a vehicle to build wealth, to retire, to help their children. I'm very passionate about it, as is Joanna. We live it, we breathe it literally every day. No, we can't take time off. It's out of control. So I am a broker in the Chicagoland area in Illinois. I do have connections in Puerto Rico and I have connections in Florida. So if anyone's looking to buy or invest there, come to me. We'll make it happen for you. I also call myself the house hacking queen. I have been house hacking at the same property for 19 years. And I'm under contract on my next house hack. Okay, I'm also a multi-unit expert. If you're from Chicago, you realize that the multi-unit world is a little cray-cray. Every multi-unit is different. So I am truly an expert. I know the ins and outs like no one's business. And I geared towards listings, people who want to sell their home. Tiffany is my right-hand gal. I don't know if she's on the call today. Nonetheless, she's my right-hand gal. She's part of my team. And I also have an assistant out in the Philippines. His name is Jude. He's the backbone. He does everything for me. I don't know how he deals with me, but he holds me down. Joanna, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. So I'm Joanna Diaz, and I am a serial entrepreneur.
You are. She really is.
I have several businesses. I started with the Credit RX business, which was kind of like the beginning of everything. And then it kind of Started from there. We moved to Puerto Rico, brought part of the operations of the credit repair business here to the island because we wanted to take advantage of some tax incentives and business incentives and all that good stuff. And when we landed here, we really started expanding. We had already started with our Airbnb business by purchasing 3 units. And so we were already in the Airbnb business. And then back in Chicago, because I was in Chicago for 20 years, we were the owners of a 3-flat.
Mhm.
And so from that, it kind of, started our investment portfolio and house hacking.
Yep, I was just gonna say
multifamily. I love multifamilies.
Isn't it the best? I know, it's just the best.
I don't understand why people buy single homes. I have no idea.
Or condos drives me crazy. Unless you have a business model. I'm not saying it doesn't work.
Right.
Just saying,
right.
Yeah.
But just get a multifamily. So I am an Airbnb expert. We are actually sitting on one of the Airbnbs that we're about to publish. And it's beautiful. It's in Carolina. And I just finished it up. Recently. Today we had the cleaning crew coming in to post it next week. Hopefully we get pictures and post it. And by the end of this year, we are already kind of 16 Airbnbs we'll have by the end of the year. And so that's pretty cool. That's between ours and our investors, because I do bring a lot of investors to Puerto Rico to purchase properties and turn them into Airbnbs or just regular multifamily properties. I am also a general contractor.
I'm telling you, see, she has me out here working, guys.
I didn't know I was a general contractor until I started thinking, dang, I am a general contractor.
I hear her on the phone. This person got to go. She had a plumber doing something yesterday. Yeah. It's crazy.
So, I think that one thing about me is I make things happen. I don't care what it is. I never say no to anything. Everything is a yes. I'm very positive. I think that if you keep that, if you're positive and you are a yes person, you're going to make things happen. So, and then I'm a founder of CreditRx. So that's who I am.
Thank you, dear. Look, you guys have a gem, okay, here sitting. It's going to be fun. Okay, here we go. All right. So why do you house hack? And there's a million reasons, but we're just going to go over these. One of my favorite reasons is to start retirement early.
Yes.
When you have either a 9-to-5 or you're an entrepreneur, you make a decent amount of money or a really good amount of money, and you buy your dream house and your dream car right away, that's not an asset, right? That's a debt, that's a liability. And so all that money is being poured into that lifestyle immediately. And, not to say that you're not going to have a good retirement, but if you were to house hack, and you were to reduce your housing expenses or remove them altogether and live for free and maybe even cash flow, Chicago's a little tough. Taxes are hard. But even if you were to just pay between $500 and $1,000 a month for a 2 or 3 flat, think about it. You are saving thousands of dollars that you can now invest and make the money work for you while you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, maybe even 50s to kind of compound your money. So that's one of my favorite reasons. Also, the best financing options, you're living in this property. It's called owner-occupied financing, and you can do as little as 0 money down to 3.5% down. I also have a program with a new lender that's 5% down for a 2-flat. I have my client Eric on here, and he can vouch that it's real. And we got outbid on a 2-flat, but it might come back to us, Eric. But nonetheless, you can get a 2-flat with only 5% down, conventional. Yes. That's going to just kill the game. And so best financing, little to no money down. It's also such a good way to get you kind of like starting to understand what it is to own real estate, to have to do repairs, to have to hire vendors, to hire agents to get you good tenants, just that process that it's going to take to become a real estate investor. House hacking is the best way to do that. Also, it's a smooth transition into owning rental properties. Hi, Matthew. Welcome. We just got started. So smooth transition into owning rental properties. People want to own rental properties. They want what's called passive income. So let's say you live in this 3 flat right here that you see in the picture for 6 to 12 months, which is the time frame that they expect you to live in it. The mortgage company, when they give you the loan. And then when you move out, and let's say you do buy that condo you want, or that single family in the suburbs, or whatever,
or
another building. I know, I'm just saying. Let's say this is all you get. Now you have 3 units, not only paying for your mortgage, increasing your equity, which can be retirement money or college money or starting a business money. But you also are going to have what's called passive income, which I like to call cash flow. So that extra $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month, whatever that cash flow is, could then go into funding a lifestyle for you to live in a nicer home or in a condo in downtown. So these are the reasons why I'm very passionate about house hacking, why I've done it. Okay, so I'm going to go over my case study. I have Joanna's case study, where she lives now in Puerto Rico, where she's house hacking a 4-unit. And then I have another case study of a client of mine that bought a 3-unit. So I bought a 3-unit back in 2004 for $195. I put a 5.25% interest rate. It was a FHA financing. It was 3.5% down. But I really, really negotiated for the sellers to give me a lot of credit.
Of course you did.
So of course I did. I was in my 20s. I was broke. Like, I needed money. And so I got $5,000 back at the closing.
Of course you did.
Of course I did.
What you do with those?
I put it back in the property.
My girl.
I did. So my payment was $1,582 a month. The rehab cost to get it up and running, to get some tenants in there, was about $20,000. I initially just moved to the garden unit. I got it pretty, and it was just me, no kids, no pets, nothing. So I moved to the garden unit, and I rented the 3-bedroom and the 2-bedroom, and I was actually cash flowing. Oh, by the way, that other $15,000 for rehab, I borrowed it from Dad, because, like I said, I didn't have money like that.
I was gonna ask you that, but I was like, should I ask?
No. And I like to share that because sometimes you have family who wants to help you,
Yes.
right? You have family to be like, oh, do you need a car, or do you want this for a wedding, or something like that? And it's like, no, let me get that $15,000 so I can put it in a property, right? So it can work.
I don't want no honeymoon. I want a multi-family property.
Yeah, you just wait a few years, you can get your honeymoon paid by your multi-unit. So, so I rented the 1st floor, I rented the 2nd floor, I lived in the garden unit, and I was cash flowing. And what I did was I started making additional principal payments towards the mortgage so that I can pay off the property faster. So within 12 years, the property was fully paid off.
Would you have done it the same way?
No.
Okay, I
absolutely would not have done that. I still am a big fan of Dave Ramsey, which is like a no debt mentality. And so at that time, I was really big on Dave Ramsey, and I wanted to get out of debt. I wanted no debt.
But it wasn't really debt.
It wasn't really debt because it was cash flowing. So a bank will actually consider it an asset.
Yes.
But I was a baby.
Hey, listen, 20-year-old, 12 years after that, it was paid off. That's good.
Yeah.
Or would you have done it again?
I would not have done that. I love real estate debt. It's the best because
we were just having a conversation about that. We're like, we're not using our cash.
No, that's like, I want to put an offer on a property here in Puerto Rico, and we were running the numbers, and I was like, okay, I can get the 20% down payment plus all the rehab costs with one private lender, and then I can go to a commercial lender and get the 80% LTV. I was like, why use my money? That makes no sense. Anyway, so yeah, we got another person.
So the reason why I ask her this is because you have to start somewhere, right? And then when you start either buying a multifamily property or even buying a condo, like my best friend started with a condo, and then she went to a family, a family house,
single
a single family. And then after that, she actually went and sold everything and went to a 3-unit because she's like, this is not making sense for me. So it's okay if you're sitting right now at a place where you're like, dang, like I didn't make the best decision, right? But there are many ways to turn those things around so that you can become financially stable and really savvy, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I asked you.
Let your money work for you. If you're on, hi Keontae, welcome by the way. Good to have you. If you're on this call, you want to live for free, or you want to have passive income, or you want to learn how to like reduce your housing expenses, right? Like if you're on this call, that's what you're thinking about. And so definitely learn from my case study, my experience. I definitely would not have paid off that mortgage. Now, there are reasons why you want to pay off certain mortgages, depending the type of portfolio you build. You know, there's so many intricate ways, and it's also depending your exit strategy, what's important to you, what are your short-term, long-term goals. But as Joanna said, looking back, I absolutely would have taken that 868 and probably saved it and bought another property or invested it in stocks. You know, who knows? I could have had that money continue working instead of just giving it to the bank.
Mm-hmm. Like for what?
5 1/4. That's almost free money.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
And you know what? The nice thing, when you see people with a heavy real estate portfolio, a lot of people automatically think like, oh my God, they're loaded or they have a lot of money. And no,
No.
that is not, absolutely not true.
Not true.
However, because of the real estate, you have assets to show the bank that you are cash flowing in some of the property. So you become a stronger buyer, a wealthier buyer, right? And it's not that you have a lot of money in the bank. Maybe you just have the 3.5% for down payment, or maybe you have the 20%, but we're not cash.
Yeah, I always say
wealthy.
we're real estate rich and cash poor. And most wealthy, savvy-minded people, they have the cash constantly working. So it doesn't mean that your net worth isn't valuable. Our net worth is probably in the hundreds of thousands or in the low millions, let's just say, right? As like, you know, mom and pop type of investors that we are. We're not corporate big time investors, but nonetheless, I mean, where we came from and how hard we work. And remember, we have other people paying down our debt while it increases in equity, which when we become viejitas and we get old, that's money that we could
never
live on.
We will never do that.
So in all the time that I've lived in this property, and by the way, I didn't live in it the entire time. Like I've lived in Indiana, I've lived in the south side of Chicago, like I've lived in other places, but you know, I've lived in this property for the most part. If I moved, I came back a year, and then I moved another year, and then I came back. One thing I can say, I've never paid for a mortgage, whether I lived in it or didn't live in it. I never paid for a mortgage. It always cash flowed for me, or broke even if it was like one unit was vacant for a few months and I had to like paint it and get it ready. And so when I calculated 19 years of not paying a mortgage, I saved $456,000 in housing expenses. Like
That's
it's
amazing.
Insane, right?
And anybody can do it. You know, a lot of people think that this is only rich people who can do it. This is, you know, your credit has to be on point, your job history has to be on point, your savings have to be okay. So these are things that just regular people do. And you know, a lot of people think like, if I don't have all of that, you know, taken care of, I won't be able to do it. And it's very simple. It's very simple. 456,000.
That's crazy. And that's like conservatively, I think I just calculated like $2,500 a month. Like, I think that's a fair amount to pay for a mortgage, right? With taxes, insurance. So $2,500 a month times 12 months times 19 years. I was like, well, when I did this a few months ago, I was like, whoa, that's pretty impressive.
And this is the way that you get to have a different lifestyle. Like yesterday, we had to take a day off.
We took a day off.
And it's like, I was thinking like, okay, we're taking a day off because we are still making money while we're taking a day off, right?
Absolutely.
Our properties are still cash flowing. Our renters are still paying. I started tapping into the student housing business and here in Puerto Rico, and it's amazing too. So it's like, you know, you get to do that. You get to build, and it didn't happen like from one day to the next, right?
Of course not.
You know, you work on it.
Yeah.
And then you get to a point where you can actually like, you know, don't have to be at a job, you know, 24/7. You could, you know, live happy.
Yeah. And if you think about like, if there's a health issue or a loss in the family or a loss in a job, you know, if you set yourself up like this year after year, the stress that comes from that wouldn't be as heavy, right? And I think that that's what wealth is about. It's not about being, you know, oh, I'm worth $100 million and look at me. To me personally, it's just that peace of mind to be able to do what you have to do for yourself, for your family, for your community, depending what your heart is and, what's important to you. So, your children, your grandchildren, leaving a legacy, like what is important to you. I think that's why real estate is one of my favorite vehicles of wealth building, because you really are paying for your freedom of time. And as she said, we didn't feel good yesterday. And it was nice to say, we're just going to stay in and we're going to relax and we're going to take care of our health. And we didn't have to be out there grinding because, as she said, when we are grinding, we're making smart moves and we're able to just take that time when we really need it. So yeah, I didn't feel good yesterday. That was not fun. All right, so let's talk retirement, because this is probably one of my favorite things. I'm not going to lie. I'm not the best at thinking about the long term always, but I've gotten better the last few years and I've made better decisions. So in 2018, I refinanced my property and I partnered with a group of people and I bought an 80 unit in Jacksonville, Florida. And the return on that in the next 5 years is going to be 24%. So that's a short-term investment. That's not like retirement. But when I get all that money back plus my 24, I'm going to probably buy some more property. Because I don't want to pay capital gains tax. That's another conversation. So anyway, I was able to refinance, pull out money from this property. Now I have a mortgage on it. But again, does it matter that I have a mortgage? Does the rate even matter? No, because it pays for itself. So it doesn't matter. Then rates dropped. So I refinanced again in 2021. And at that point, as you know, during the pandemic, if you owned real estate, it was worth a lot of money. Like I couldn't believe what my property was worth. I live on the west side of Chicago. There's no way this property should be worth this much, but it is. And so I took advantage of, one, the rates were low, and two, there was a lot more money in my property that I could take out. It's my money. Why should I leave the equity sitting there for the bank? Let me use it for myself. And so in 2021, I refinanced again, pulled out more money, got a lower interest rate. My payment was almost the same as it was before. And I pulled out a bunch of money because the rates were so much lower. And now I have some capital that I'm putting in on a buy and hold that I'm buying near Midway, and my next 2 flat that I'm buying to house hack again. And I have some reserves put away to do, some buy and holds and some flips. So again, that money was sitting there. I pulled it out and now I got it working for me so that I can continue to compound it. Nice. The current value is $395. The current loan is $230, 4.25% rate. So I have about $165,000 in equity. I don't think people talk about equity as much. It's like, oh, cash flow. And don't get me wrong, cash flow is great. But even if you break even, you're still building equity, which is like fabulous. If it weren't for equity, I wouldn't have been able to refinance twice and do everything I did. So always remember there's 2 sides. There's that instant passive income, plus you're building equity. And in the 5, 10, 15 years, what you can do for that with that equity is insane. So right now, my current PITI is $1,826 a month. With my current rental income, I make about $1,000 cash flow net after everything's paid, including the water bill in Chicago. You got to include that. And so now I'm putting that towards a strategy called infinite banking. And I'm gonna have to bring an infinite banking person to talk because it's just way beyond my understanding. I mean, I'm learning a lot more, but the point of me saying that is that I have it working for me, period. Like the money is constantly working for me. And so retirement doesn't mean like you stop working. Like retirement means, like she said, like I could take off. I could take a month off if I wanted to, for example.
That's what I did when I went to the Philippines.
Yeah, you did.
31 days.
You did. And if it weren't for your investments and you building that, you wouldn't have been able to do that.
No.
But we love to work, her more than me, but we do love to work. So we probably work more than what we should. All right. So I'm going to let Joanna speak about her house hacking experience that she actually has here in Santurce.
Cool. The one on the left-hand side.
Yes.
Is mine. So it's a 4-unit. So for those of you who do not know Puerto Rico, Santurce is located in San Juan, which is the capital, right? And that's where everybody lands and everybody comes to San Juan. So we always wanted to purchase a property, a multifamily unit in San Juan. We already had a 2-unit in the West Coast, the condo in the South Side, and then Before we got this, we had another probably like 10 doors or something like that. But we really wanted to get a 4 unit or a multifamily property in San Juan. So my husband's a veteran, which, by the way, if someone's a veteran here, you got to talk to them because because veterans get zero down
The best.
when it comes to owner occupied. And so at that time, we were living in a very small property in Mayagüez, which is all the way in the West Coast. And so what we did is we moved part of the business to San Juan to show the bank that we wanted to move from a primary residence to another primary residence, being that we were coming from a single home to a multifamily property. We really needed to build a case and really have creativity when it came to, the lenders. And so we opened up a small office in the San Juan area because we wanted to open up business here for Credit RX. And that's how we were able to get the VA loan at a zero down. So that property is $550,000. It is VA financing, so we didn't have to put any money down. The rehab cost of this property was $25,000. And so the first floor, so I have 4 floors and I have a rooftop. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. My building is beautiful.
I'm staying there now. It's amazing.
Yes.
The location is insane.
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 It's walking distance to Ocean Park.
To everything.
Walking distance to everything. So God was good to us.
Yeah, you guys have
a
cash cow there for sure.
The unit 1, which is the first floor, is the owner occupied. That's where my husband and I live. We have no kids. We have 2 dogs.
I was gonna say yes, you do.
Yeah.
The fur babies.
My God.
Oh my God, they're the cutest dogs
they're
ever.
Probably worse than kids.
Well, I can't let Rocco hear that because Rocco.
He's gonna be jealous.
Yeah.
So the first one is where we live, and we have a really nice space. So we're able to even warehouse hack.
Oh my God, that's a good one.
Yes. So my husband, being here in Puerto Rico, an opportunity started for a construction company. So my husband took on the construction company, and now he has about 2-3 teams in the island. So that's where we put all of our warehouse, like everything that comes from the construction business, like the tools and everything. And then also for example, what I get from all of this here that you see, I get it in boxes, and so I warehouse hack.
That
in
is
my 4 unit.
I never thought of that. Hi, Diana. Welcome.
So in that first unit, I live, and that's my warehouse. So it doesn't look pretty, but it works.
It does work.
And then the second floor, and this is where she's staying with me in the first floor, so she knows it's crazy.
It is.
So the second floor is actually an Airbnb, and you see it on that picture right there. That's part of the $25,000 rehab cost. We literally did a little something there. We didn't do a lot, but we decorated it really nicely, and we put everything like really nice, like new IKEA, like, hip, whatever. And that one brings about $6,500 a month, which is amazing.
Insane.
It's just
I'm moving to Puerto Rico.
Yes, I'm telling you. I've been saying that.
It's insane.
Now, the third unit, we're turning it into another Airbnb. And that one I'm averaging about the same thing. So that's just the projection that we have. So think about that, right? That's already $13,000. That's stupid.
It's stupid.
It's really it's a lot of work, right? Because Airbnbs are not just like, oh, you just, put a plant somewhere and then you rent it. There's a lot of, I literally have a full-blown call center in Colombia that manages these things, right? Because it is a lot of stuff that you have to do. And then the fourth unit, we are actually putting it together for a luxury Airbnb with a rooftop. So that one is not ready yet, and I'm being very conservative when it comes to the number, but I'm estimating about $8,000 coming from that one.
She'll easily make $15,000 a month on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because of the location alone.
Yeah,
easy.
And then look at that payment, $2,700. So now what I do is I'm gonna make sure 1,000%, even if I have to pay taxes, I'm gonna make sure 1,000% to put all of that money that I'm making on my schedule. I don't know if it's C or E, but one of those.
Probably see.
And I'm going to make sure that I put that in there as a cash, cash coming in from that property. I don't want that property to show negative or losses. I want that property to show on my taxes that I'm making money, so that with what I make plus what that makes, I can get something else. Right. And that's what people don't understand. A lot of business owners, and I don't know if you guys, some of you might be business owners, and you go to, when you step at a level of business ownership, you have to hang out with accountants that are in your level because a lot of accountants want you to save.
Right.
And so they give you all these tips of, showing more expenses and don't pay so much. And then at the end of the day, you show like you're not making any money. And so you can't afford to purchase something because the lender is going to look at the bottom number. And if the bottom number doesn't look strong, then you didn't do anything. And so I had to learn that the hard way when I bought my first 3-unit in Chicago, because my husband was a barber and he was making like $1,600 a week and
not
zero.
Right, not showing any income.
How do you go from $1,600 a week? I'm like, no, we're not going to be lying about this.
$83,000 a year.
Yes. And a lot of barbers do that, and a lot of people do that because they don't prepare themselves. They don't put money away to make those payments. They don't do the quarterly, right? The quarterly tax, the quarterly payments, so that at the next year you're not, drowning and you can't, and then you end up deciding, you know what, let me just take a bunch of deductions, and then you can't buy. And so just, that's the cash flow. It's going to be about 21,000. It's very conservative because the location.
No, it's going to be more than 21,000 a month easily on cash.
So that's one of my.
Now, mind you, that's gross. That's not considering overhead expenses,
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I mean, easily walk away with $15,000 in
for
cash
sure.
flow. Yeah.
And the thing with the Airbnb business is that you only have cleaning, which is technically, right, paid by the.
Yeah, if you run the Airbnb business right and you use the tools, it's not really that expensive.
No.
If you go in doing everything the right way and you have the right crew, it's not that expensive.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. Then I have, the 2-unit in Aguadilla. That's also Airbnb, and that one is also cash flowing really nicely for $4,500 a month.
And then she's also working on a project right now with a 5-unit, which is a student housing, because it's in Maya West, and Maya West has a really popular college. And so she's building these cute little studios, and she has like a 2-bedroom, I think it is.
Yeah, so it's a 3-bedroom. So this is what you get to do when you build your real estate portfolio. So we were in the East Coast, and I had to do something in the West Coast, which, by the way, people think Puerto Rico is really small, but it takes like 3 hours to get to the West Coast. And so I couldn't drive 3 hours and then come back 3 hours. And so in my 5-unit, I designated one of the units to just be for me and my husband and my doggies when I go there and I work on projects. And so you get to do those things when you are wise how you invest your money, right? So for that particular property, it was just a single home, and we turned it into a 3-bedroom, a 1-bedroom, and 3 studios. And then there's space in the basement for like common area. So we have like, washer and dryer and storage room or whatnot. And that one alone, with me having that apartment for me, not cash flowing in that apartment, I'm already cash flowing almost $4,500.
Yeah.
So then you think about it, right? $4,500 in one, $15,000 in the other one. Who's not going to retire fast?
Exactly. And what if she could just keep all that money, but what if she used that money for, to retire, to continue to build her retirement?
So my ultimate goal, and I always share this because it just depends, like what Danica was saying, it depends on what's driving you, right? So my drive is I want to be a full-blown missionary. That's all I want to do. Like I want to be in mission, but I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be a missionary under a bridge. I want to have the finances to live a good life, to enjoy myself with my husband and the doggies if they're still around, and be able to pour into people with money, right? Like if a school needs to be built, or if women are being trafficked and we need to put money, that's what I want God to use me, right? So that's my drive. My drive is not, I'm not going to be rich, I'm not going to have a bunch of money, but if I can set myself up to have about $20,000 coming in passive, my God,
Yeah.
I can do so much work for the Lord. So that's just me. That's my heart.
No, that's good. Thank you so much for sharing that. So this is the last case study. This is a client of mine that I helped. And then after that, we're going to go straight into credit. So my client bought this 3-unit for $380 in Little Village in Chicago.
Nice.
It was 3.5% down. I know she didn't come a lot to the table because, again, I went hard on negotiating a lot of credits. She took about $40,000 and updated both the other units.
Nice.
And she's Airbnb. And again, this is very conservative, but she averaged about $2,000 for each unit. And I think those units are worth $1,600 in that area. So she's making more, obviously. And I think she makes more than that, but she's being conservative. She lives on the top level and her boyfriend lives there and he pays $800. When she told me that, I was like, yes, girl, that's right.
Oh, you want to live with me? Okay.
$800. I love that. I thought that was
the
so
guys,
good.
the guys in the presentation are like, what?
Right. No, he's an awesome man. They have a good life together. They travel a lot, so I'm sure he's more than happy. I mean, $800. It's a nice building. It's fully rehabbed. Yeah, that's nothing. And so her principal, interest, tax, and insurance. Gladys, I'll be right with you, dear. Her principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. After she refinanced for a lower rate, but then her taxes doubled. But because she has me, as a friend / realtor, homegirl, I immediately was like, you got to do this, do this, do this. So I'm pretty sure those taxes are going to go down substantially because I connected her with my attorney, blah, blah, blah. So, but right now, currently she's paying $25.65 a month with taxes and insurance, and she cash flows $22.35 a month. Cash flows.
So that's after paying.
After everything.
Beautiful. What?
Yeah.
That's good.
That's really good.
That's good in Chicago.
That's really good. So
by the way, when you are running your Airbnb numbers, be very conservative.
Always be conservative.
You want to do, if you like, for example, we just had a property in Carolina as well. I didn't think that it was going to be that good.
I know you were telling me that.
And we ended up we thought it was going to be 18 nights. I'm like, you know what? I can work with 18 nights a month. And then we drove the numbers through 18 nights. And then, girl, we're killing it. So I'm like, okay, well, but you always want to run the numbers kind of, low. Gladys,
yeah. Gladys, you have a question? You have to unmute yourself if you're talking. I don't hear you. There you go.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I was
Hello? Gladys, can you hear us?
No, she muted herself again.
Okay.
Mistake.
All right, moving on.
Okay, we'll forgive you, Gladys.
All right, so next we're going to be, I appreciate the information. I have to go to work.
Oh.
Bye, Eric. Good to see you.
Bye, Eric. Thank you.
He's gonna be my next case study. Watch, I told him.
Yes.
We're making offers. I'm so excited for him. Okay, so we're gonna.
Being a real estate agent is hard, y'all.
Oh my gosh! Don't get me started.
You put your heart into every single transaction, and sometimes it just breaks your heart. Like she broke my heart. We're looking at so many properties, and I'm like, come on, let's do this.
I'm like, yeah, if I get private money and buy it that way, I'll do it all day. Of course.
Okay, so let's go into credit because this is a very good slide that I want to share with you guys. So if you or someone you know is struggling with credit or wants to get on that next level of credit, like if you're like 680 and you're like, for the life of me, I cannot get to a 700. These are the 5 things that you really want to do to get to that next level. So when you think of the credit score, I want you to think about a pie, right? So just a pie, you're going to be slicing that pie, slicing that pie. And so we're gonna slice 35% of that comes from past payment history. Okay, so when you make a late payment, your credit score is going to go down dramatically because 35% of your credit score comes from past payment history. So what do? We pay our bills. We pay them on time. What I did myself is I prepare myself to be able to make payments of all my bills on the first of the month. So the first of the month, I sit down and I pay absolutely everything. And mind you, I have 15 doors. I got to pay light, water, like all that crazy stuff. And so it's exhausting, but it's a good thing to do in the first of the month so that we don't have to worry about anything else. Okay? Mic issues, but also I raised hands by mistake. Okay.
Sharonda though had a question. Is the rest on credits? Do you get that question?
No.
Sharonda, what do you mean exactly? You can unmute. Is the rest on credits?
I don't know.
What I'm saying is the rest of the actual meeting on credit.
Oh, the rest of the meeting.
Yes.
All of it is
Okay.
allocated? Okay.
Yeah. If you have house hacking questions, I'm going to be here for house hacking questions.
Yeah. Do you want to open it up for house hacking and then we'll just do the credit, or you just want
However, you have a question, Sharonda, on house hacking?
No, not in regards to house hacking. I just wanted to find out about, if it was going to be on credit, because I actually have my credit down already.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, we're gonna be talking credits and then open for any questions.
This is gonna be really fast.
Yeah, whether it's house hacking, credit, or just investing, multi-units, any questions?
Yeah, this is probably going to be 5 minutes and then we'll move on to the next, because I know a lot of you may not have credit problems or anything like that, which is great. Okay. But maybe you know someone who needs a little bit of a push, right? And so, okay, so going back to the 35%, we're looking at past payment history. And what that's going to do is you have to pay your bills on time. I said, try to see if you can make your payments one time designated day of the month where you pay everything off, and that will help you not to be late ever on any kind of payments. The second one, which is a 30%, is credit use. And this is very important, guys. If you guys are still struggling and are not getting to that 700, that might be the case. The credit use, you have two types of credit. You have the installment loans and you have the revolving accounts. Revolving accounts are credit cards, charge cards, store cards. Those are the ones that you want to pay attention. Do not go over 25% usage. So if you have a credit limit of $1,000, do not spend more than $250 a month, and pay it off and do it again, and pay it off and do it again. If your credit is low, make sure you leave a little bit of a balance after you pay. So if you owe $250, pay $245, and then leave $5 to revolve to the next month, so that the bank sees that you're always like, it's a revolving account, right? And so that's a tip. If you have low credit, always leave a little bit behind. If you have good credit, meaning 680 or more, then you don't have to do all of that. You could pay it off and then just use it again. But you do have to take care of your credit usage. So always 25%. I know that a lot of people say, isn't it 30% that I can spend? Yes, that is the magic number. But if I tell you 30, you probably spend 35. So I want to do 25 so that you get to the 30 and you're still safe. That's the second one. The third one, which is the 15% that makes up your credit score, is the length of credit. Don't close accounts that are old. So if you have an older credit card, if you have a credit card that you've used for 10 years and you're like, I don't want it anymore, be careful, because every time that you close an account that has been opening, has really good history, your credit score is going to take a huge hit.
Huge.
Unless
it happened to me.
You have things to offset. And even then,
huge.
Huge. It takes a huge hit, and because the older, the better. You know what I mean? And so just be careful with that. Number 4 is 10% of it, which is type of credit, which I already explained to you guys, is either installment loans or revolving. Installment loans are like your mortgage, your car loan, your student loans. It's usually the term loans. And so with those loans, it's good for credit building and credit history, but the credit cards are really what's going to give you that boost on your credit score. So remember, just think about installments are always put it to charge. Installments are always going to be like a flat line, but the credit cards are always going to be like a roller coaster, right? You charge it and then you pay it. You charge it, you pay it, right? So you want to make sure that you're keeping them, you keep up the good work with the credit cards and the usage. And then last but not least is 10%, which is inquiries. And this is very important, guys. Inquiries, depending on who's running your credit. Now, there are soft inquiries and there are hard inquiries. We got to watch for the hard inquiries. And how do you know which ones are hard? The moment you're applying for something, those are hard. If you're just checking your credit or looking at it or checking Credit Karma or Identity Guard or ScoreSense or whatever, you don't have to worry about that because you're just checking your credit. But if you're applying for something, whether it's a mortgage or a car loan or a credit card or a student loan, anyone with the purpose of giving you a loan checks your credit, it's going to be a hard inquiry and your credit will go down. So with that being said, be prepared if you want to purchase a property or a multifamily property. If you are in the 620s, the 640s, take a little bit of time and contact us and let us look at your credit, because it could be something really dumb.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They don't even know.
Something that is
so
like 45 days. Her little sister was like, in the 700s, and so but there could be something a little, worse. But the point is, if you are going to if you're thinking about house hacking or purchasing a property or whatever the case may be, you want to be able to start from the foundation, right? From credit, financial, savings. And so those are the 5 elements. As long as you keep those on check, you will be really, really good to go.
Awesome. All right. So let me stop sharing. And I believe I put the survey in there. If you want to talk to us regarding house hacking or credit or real estate investing, go ahead and click on that, fill it out. Well, anybody can fill it out. You don't even have to want to talk to us, by the way. I just like to know who's on the call and all that stuff. But yeah, does anyone have any questions regarding house hacking, real estate, multi-unit, or credit? Or just
what are your
questions for
thoughts?
us? Yeah.
What are your thoughts about it? Like, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it.
Let's do like school. Let's start calling on people. Like someone already left. They're like, they're not going to call on me.
I'm going to call on Kevin.
Kevin.
He looks like a nice guy.
Kevin. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, so what was the question?
We were just calling on someone.
We're giving you an F.
We're just calling on someone just to.
We're just like, what are your thoughts about the presentation? Like, what are you getting from this?
Yeah, it's good. I'm looking to look for my next real estate, to house hack as well, and just taking on some notes, regarding the credit and everything too, and looking to refer you guys as well if I come across anybody looking to need some help with that for sure.
Nice. What was the biggest thing you learned that you probably haven't heard yet that you got from the presentation? Was there anything that was new?
I mean, I've heard bits and pieces of a lot of it, but more, I guess, the revolving and like the revolving side of the credit, keeping a little bit there, to kind of show, something happening still. So I'm trying to utilize that to not just pay the whole thing off and maybe keep a little bit of a balance there just to kind of build that up quicker.
Mm-hmm. That's very good.
That's a good tip. I've never even heard of that either.
Yeah.
There's so much about credit that we don't know. There's like so many facets to it. It's
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Awesome. Any other feedback questions for us?
I just like listening. I'm learning a lot too, and just like taking it in.
Thank you.
Thank you,
so
Kevin.
Glad. Nodi, you have any thoughts? Feedback questions? While you're chilling and your cute.
I know she looks like she's in Puerto Rico.
Are you in Puerto Rico?
No, I mean, I'm in Tampa actually.
Yeah, she's in Tampa.
No,
I knew it.
that's
I was gonna say no. She's in Tampa.
I'm in Tampa, and I'm my brother's actually now. So that's why you see so much like a nation over here.
Yeah, beautiful.
And by the way, Danica, here today was really hot too, almost in the 90s. But right now it's so fresh, so it's
Good.
unbelievable. So, anyway, I just want to say thank you. When it comes to credit, I used to do credit restoration in the past, so that I know. When it comes to house hacking, that's why I'm here. My husband and I, we want to invest and work for ourselves, like you said. So I think with you guys is a good beginning to open
The doors.
our minds, yeah, the doors, because I was like kind of hesitant. I used to work with investors in the past and help them somehow. You're giving me new ideas actually for them. So yes, I gotta sit with you. We gotta talk.
Yeah, and
Nice.
you're connected in Florida, so
Mhm.
yeah.
Hmm.
With
So
Cali.
yes, yeah, I just want to do that. Yeah, like yeah, deep into it. So
Did you see the survey? I put the link. Can you fill it out and put your
and
information in there?
for sure, I'm not sure if I
No,
can
it
see
worked.
that.
Check
Let
in
me
the
see.
chat.
Like a
Check in
Let
the
me
chat.
let me see if I can see the chat.
Yeah. Check in.
Oh yeah, I got it. I think I got it.
You know if it works, if you can, and then just put your information at the last question, and we'll definitely talk to you about house hacking for sure.
Let's go with
Oh
Kian.
yes, please.
Keontae. So Keontae is part of my mastery, and his mom is
Nice.
Sharonda.
Oh.
Keontae, hi. Did you listen? Were you listening in?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, I was listening in, and I did just want to say that, as far as the credit, it definitely is important. Fortunately for me, I have a parent who teaches me, at a young age to, have good credit and, making sure that you have good relationships with banks. It's easier for you to, get loans and things of that nature. So I kind of have that like, embedded in me from like an early age anyways. And I can
Good
kind of
job,
relate.
Sharonda.
Yes.
Yeah, and my mom, Sharon, is in there.
Thank you.
She said, "That's my boy."
Yeah. Yeah, so pretty much, from an early age, from, car buying, from things of that nature, I started to see how, credit can really take you far, especially with real estate, and like you mentioned that real estate is, we're not trying to be, how should I say, paper rich, but we want to definitely be wealthy in the assets that we're building up. And that's, something that's definitely important as far as credit. Credit is definitely an asset, especially when you need business funding and things of that nature, whatever you want to do, even with Airbnbs. So definitely for sure, credit is something that I value. And we've actually, over the years, accumulated more credit cards, not just to, for show, but mainly it's just to have it on your credit, because what I learned is that if creditors see more banks under your credit file, they'll see that you are a trustworthy person, and they'll say, "Hey, yeah, we see that you have a lot of relationships with good banks and credit unions. Hey, yeah, we'll go ahead and give them this loan or whatever it is." So it's little tweaks like that that definitely go a long way, that you can actually take in your real estate career as far as business funding and things of that nature. And I'm sure you guys will go deeper into the LLCs and, structuring and everything. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. But thank you for letting me speak. And my mom is somewhere in there. I don't know if she
Here.
talked already, but
You
but
know
thank you for having me.
what? I
Yeah.
Yes, I hear you.
for sure. Thank you so much for participating. And you know what? I do want to touch base on what he just mentioned. Just because it's important to understand that it's okay to have several credit cards. It's just not okay to not use them well. And so you can very well have 15, 20, 25 credit cards on your credit. You just have to make sure that you utilize them under the 25% ratio. And of course, if you have too many, then you'll end up having some of them going dormant because you're not using them, which is fine. But I'm giving you an example that you don't necessarily, because a lot of people are like, how many credit cards should I have? You can have as many as you want. You just have to make sure that you keep them 25% or lower. So that was good.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Keontae. One thing too I wanted to share, being that Keontae and Sharonda are part of my Mastery family, and we're a group of investors in the Chicagoland area and Florida. And so one thing I wanted to share about that is that when I'm shopping for hard money loans, which I have, and when I'm shopping for DSCR loans to refinance out of private money or refinance out of my hard money for flips or for buy and hold rental properties, guess what? Guess what the banks ask? What's your credit score? What's your credit score? I mean, even though they're not using your personal credit to back up the loan, they're using the property and the asset, they still want you to have a 700 and above. And if you have lower, you will potentially get the loan, but you're not going to get the best rates. And, you know, commercial loans are expensive. So again, it's important that, like she was saying, if you're at 640 to 680 and you want to get over that 700 mark and you're looking to build a real estate portfolio, 700 and over is actually going to be beneficial for you, even though they're not going to use your personal credit. Like the property or the loan is not going to be on your personal credit. It's not going to be personally backed up by you, but they do a hard pull on your credit, and they want to look at your score and they want to look at your history to make sure that you're a responsible person in your personal side. So thanks for mentioning that, Keontae, because that is a very good point when it comes to credit. Hi, Linda. How are you? Hi.
That's my daughter.
She's so cute. I also want to give a shout out to my sister.
Thank you.
Of course. My sister who's on the call and my nephew Rocco, my sister Jessie. She's also a house hacker. That building that you see her there, she has a 2-unit. She lives downstairs and rents upstairs.
Yes, girl.
And
she gets to get some more money to buy more things to Rocco.
Yeah,
Oh
for her dog.
God. Imagine my
dog. Look, she's saying no.
My dogs.
No,
I want to be my dog. I want to be my dog.
No, my sister is really, really good with money. She's been stacking her money because she's ready to buy her next property.
Yes.
So she's gonna do the rinse and repeat thing, and so she's living there for little to no money out of her own personal pocket, which is nice. And then the rest of her money she gets to stack it, which has been really nice. So I wanted to give a shout out to her. She's one of my biggest supporters in everything that I do. So I appreciate you being on, sister. Miss you. I'll be back home soon, I promise. Khaled, Gladys, Matthew, anybody have any other questions? If you want to speak with me offline or Joanna offline, there's a link in the chat. Fill it out. Just put your info in there. And
yes, I'm sorry. I had a question.
Yes, talk to me.
I'm slow on the button. I'm driving.
No worries. Just be safe. Go ahead.
So I heard you mention 5% on the, I believe it's conventional loan for a multifamily building. Is that correct?
That is correct. You have to live in the property. It has to be owner occupied for 6 to 12 months. But yes, I have a personal relationship with a bank that has an in-house loan for a 2-flat that's 5% down. So if you're interested in that, let me know. We can talk offline.
Okay.
Which is very exciting because, you know, FHA is probably one of my favorite products. Inventory is really low, so sometimes FHA could be a little challenging. You might have someone come in with conventional. So if you don't need a 3 or 4 unit and you're happy to start with the 2 unit to house hack, perfect loan.
Right.
And another thing I love about that loan is, like, I have right now, like Eric, he dropped off. But Eric is approved for both the FHA and the 2-flat. He wants to use the FHA. Why? Because after 6 to 12 months, right, he can then go buy a 2-flat with conventional, because you can't have 2 FHA products at the same time. You can on the loan, but not on the FHA loan. So I love that product because I feel like I can get someone in on FHA, and within 6 to 12 months or 2-3 years, whatever your game plan is, whatever your comfortability is, if you want to rinse and repeat, you can get in on FHA, whether it's 2, 3, or 4. So that's a good thing about FHA. You can do 3.5% down with up to 4 units. Insane. One of the best products out here. So you do that, you get in on FHA, and a lot of times people get frustrated Now the rates are normal, but when the rates were 2-3%, a lot of people bought with me at 2-3%, and now they don't want to refinance to 6% to buy their next property. So they are able to do the 2 flat at 5% because now I have this new relationship. So
Right.
you can do
Okay.
FHA first, and if you want to buy your second one within 12 months or less, or the next 2-3 years, you then can use the 2 flat conventional loan. That way now you can have potentially 6 doors in a year.
Right. Yep.
Crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. That sounds good. We'll
Question.
talk offline on that one.
For sure. Yeah, it's a great question. I know, Rocco. I love him so much. He's such a fun dog. So VA loans, like if you know anyone who's a veteran, please connect them with me. For the love of God, connect them with me, because you can literally build so much wealth within 5 to 7 years with veteran loans. Like it's insane. So yeah, let me know. I have the connections to be able to like create a short-term plan with a veteran who's willing to house hack and take advantage of that loan.
Please house hack.
Man, it's so good. It's so good.
I do want to say one thing. When you start investing, like for example, for Nori, right? Like when you start investing, I want you to please make sure that you're listening and hearing people that have done it before and that are knowledgeable on what they're doing and that they're being successful, because you're going to have a lot of people being very negative about what you're doing, because they're going to point out everything about, oh, what if they don't pay you? Oh, what if they, what if something breaks? Oh, what if the tenants, mess up your place? But if you talk to people that have done it before and that have been successful, then you can get the real, the truth about it. So I know when my husband and I bought our first property, the most negative people were our families.
Unfortunately.
And they come and they look at your stuff and they're like, it's falling apart, and it's like, yeah, it's falling apart because I got it at a good price. I'm about to fix it and make some money. But make sure that you guys are listening to people that have done it before. If they haven't done it before,
don't listen to
just
them.
be like, what? Bye.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad she said that. I actually have a client. I wish Tiffany was on the call with me, my right hand gal, and with the Infamous group. So I have a client. I got her pre-approved for house hacking. She's a single mom. She's a teacher. She has a little girl, and she was approved for a pretty good amount. And her family talked her out of it. Completely talked her out of it. So we went to looking for single families. And every time we found a single family, and mind you, the area that she wants is like hot, like Norwood Park, that whole little area over there, hot. I said, girl, she only wants to live in the property for 2 years. I said, girl, okay, fine. You want a single family? Your family said no multi-units, whatever. She just kept listening to people. So we went to single family, so many single families. And if you guys know that area, there's a lot of houses that have in-law units with actual kitchens in it. And she has money down for conventional. She doesn't have to go FHA, so she don't have to get rid of the kitchen. I'm like, girl, you can Airbnb downstairs while you live upstairs. And in Chicago, you can do that. And they talked her out of it. Now she's looking at condos. Like, I can't.
I am glad.
And hold on. Every time she goes sees properties, she has someone with her. And they give her all this input.
Fire them. And they're renting.
They drive me crazy. It drives me crazy. So I appreciate her saying that, because literally we just wrote an offer for her for a condo that she can't even rent. I go, honey, you're gonna own this for 2 years. You're not gonna be able to get rid of it, and you can't rent it. You're gonna get stuck living there. So yeah, it's.
And I don't know you guys in Chicago, but here in Tampa, after the Surfside in Miami, I don't know if you know that, the situation with the Surfside in Miami, since with condo laws are getting so crazy that it's like, you know what? Oh my goodness,
Really hard.
It's rough. So
no, Chicago condos have barely recovered since the crash. It's only new construction in like the higher hip areas like Logan Square, downtown, West Loop, that if you get in with new construction, by the time you own it, you have a lot of equity in it, right? And then a lot of times you can rent it, and those are cash cow rentals. if you're gonna buy a old 1980 condo that has no in-unit washer and dryer, you can't rent it out. It's way in the north side. Like, it's just not a good investment by any means. If you hold it for 20, 30 years, you probably will see some return if you can rent it. Other than that, it's not worth it. So yeah, the condos got hit really hard in Chicago, and they're barely recovering. Every time I do a listing presentation on a condo, the seller just hates me because I'm not giving them good news, you know?
Mhm.
So I digress. Thank you, everyone. Any last minute, Nodi, we're gonna talk. Sharonda will talk about the two flat thing. Anybody else have any final questions before her and I go to the rooftop up here and chill out, look at the view?
Just thank
No,
you.
it's good. Have fun and enjoy
Keep in
it.
touch.
Definitely.
Okay, who, Kevin?
Kevin said to enjoy it, right? That's what you said, Kev?
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah,
No
we're gonna be posting this Airbnb next week. Maybe you should share the 787 vacation rentals.
I
with
was
them.
gonna say, well, I know Kevin, we've been connected. I have Keontae.
Yeah.
It's just Nori. Nori, you filled out the thing? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Nori. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you guys wanted to, where you at? I lost you. Wanted any information on Puerto Rico, like investing in Puerto Rico, questions about Airbnb in Puerto Rico, if you're gonna travel and want to see what Airbnbs Joanna has available, definitely. I'm gonna put it here, and I'm gonna stay online for about 5 minutes. Fill out the form and just let us know. Hey, just put Puerto Rico, and I'll connect you with Joanna.
Or even if you want a vacation.
That's what I said. If they
Yeah.
want a vacation and see what Airbnb, she has Airbnbs with herself and her investor partners all over the island. And when I tell you everywhere in the island is just Cabo Rojo, Aguadilla. You even have Humacao. Yep, I was just gonna say that. Luquillo. Here, Carolina.
Luquillo's gonna be hot. Carolina's 3. You're gonna.
You guys want to stay here? I'll give you a little tour. So we have the living room. That's where we're sitting, where the TV's at. We have the dining room. Look at this kitchen. This is this is not a normal Puerto Rico kitchen. Let me just tell you that off the bat. This looks just like my kitchen at home. Puerto Rico kitchens are like literally a little wall and that's it. And a lot of Airbnbs have that. Let's see. Let's go to the master. Where's the master? This is not the master, but we have a bedroom here. The leading person really did a great job. Look at this. This is like hotel quality. Got the little thing on there. So it has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a rooftop deck. Oh, and a party room upstairs in the rooftop. An indoor air-conditioned party room. Here's the master. This was not planned, but I figured why not? Three bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. And Carolina is the town where San Juan Airport is at, by the way. So the airport is, what, 5 minutes away from here?
This one is about
A little further out, like
15.
15 minutes?
Yeah, 'cause
15.
this one's closer to the East Coast.
Got
so you
it.
have like a Yunque is like 10 minutes from here.
So El Yunque, which is our rainforest, and it's, oh my gosh, life-changing, is 10 minutes from here. So if you want any Puerto Rico stuff, click on that link, fill out the info. Thank you, everyone, for your time this evening. It was so nice having you here on a Thursday evening. I'm going to do another one in June. I think July, I'm going to do one in person.
Oh,
Do like a
nice.
little cocktail social.
I'm gonna go.
Get some people out for some networking. Yeah. Gladys, thank you for being here. You're very welcome. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
you too.
you. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Bye, guys. Brother, the lender.
Oh,
Look at your sister.
Rocco.
Hi.
Bye, Sharonda, honey. Talk soon.
Okay, that's us
That's
only.
you. Yeah. Sister, show us the baby.
She left. She
No,
left
she's there.
us.
She's there.
I know she's there, but I think she got a phone call.
Oh, yeah, that's possible.
Tan linda, ella siempre está ahí contigo.
What's Robert's name?
Robert?
I mean, full name. I meant to say full name. Que pendeja.
What's Robert's name?
Rodriguez? Please tell me
Robert?
he's not Rodriguez.
Ramirez.
Oh, thank you, Jesus. He's with Neighborhood Loans. He's with Neighborhood Loans.
Yes, because someone else paid for her. Why are you so jumpy, bro? ¿Qué te pasa? ¿No has dormido bien? Oh my God.
She
She
went
said,
out.
she said, "Ma."